got teeth, I got a lot of shine. Running up the number, that's a lot of crime. Try to take it from me, must be out your mind. I'm big time, lot of sun. Smoky in the air, that's a lot of pine. Pockets running over with the dollar sign. Try to take it from me. Yeah. Big time, big time, big time, big time. Running up the numbers, that's a lot of crime. Try to take it from me, must be out your mind. Lot of sun, smoky in the air, that's a lot of crime. Pockets running over with the dollar signs. Try to take it from me. Big time. I got a lot of shine. Running up the numbers, that's a lot of grind. Try to take it from me, must be out your mind. I'm big time, lot of shine. Smoky in the air, that's a lot of pine. Pockets running over with the dollar sign. Try to take it from me, from me, from me, from me. Big time, number 9. Down in my teeth, I got a lot of shine. The numbers, that's a lot of grind. Try and take it from me, must be out your mind.
And what's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of the Ysn Power Hour. We got Quinn, we got Billy, we got Mush, and we got Muntz, and we are together the Power Rangers. Right? Isn't that how that goes?
Go Power Rangers.
Z-Dog's obsessed with that now, so it's a 24-hour thing at the Yoakley house. Is the Power Rangers?
It's a good one to watch.
They have changed so much since the OG days of like the pink, blue, black, yellow, red. What was the other? White Ranger.
Fun fact: they're
like,
rebooting. They're going back to the OG.
Are they really?
Mm-hmm.
I can get behind that because now it's like they have little action figures they hold up. And then they morph it. Like I'm so far down the Power Ranger path right now, and it's completely different from Elsa and Anna, or whatever her name is. Oh yeah, it's Elsa and Anna, right? Yeah, the Frozen.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Having girls is way different than having a little boy, and I'm just gonna leave it there. It's completely this stuff is cooler to watch on TV. I'm gonna leave it there.
I never got into the Power Rangers.
You were too old for the Power Rangers.
That's what I mean. Like it was past my like cartoon days of watching.
You were more like Transformers and like
I was like Thundercats.
Oh, Thundercats! Yeah. That is I hate Thundercats.
Paul was actually more into Looney Tunes than anything.
Yeah, Looney Tunes was good. I mean, listen for me, like Saturday morning was when you will have to watch cartoons. Like cartoons weren't on except for like really really early in the morning. You could get up and watch like Tom and Jerry, or actually I got up. I used to watch Batman. I loved watching Batman, like the really bad TV series Batman with Adam West and Burt Ward. Yeah, that's the one I like.
That's really bad.
I mean, it was some of the acting wasn't the greatest, but I mean, it had the coolest car and like I mean, that's
70s.
Yeah.
How old are you?
I'm 44, so
that's the thing, though. Kids don't understand how important Saturday mornings were when we were growing up. We literally looked forward to Saturday mornings the entire week. And you don't have none. That's not even close now. Now it's, let's go to hockey or baseball or whatever. Football.
or
which is cool. But
these, I mean, you were in bed kind of early Friday night because you knew you could get up early on Saturday morning and watch cartoons, and it was like that was it, man. Cartoons were awesome.
Cartoons
Smurf.
are still awesome. There's a couple though, like SpongeBob. That cartoon gets away with a lot, like a lot. I watched that and I was like, I don't think he can watch this. I don't think this is like. I never thought I'd be that guy. I'm that guy. I like. There's some bad stuff out there, but also
yeah, but they don't know the difference. Like if you, well, I can't get into it on this show, but
yeah.
There was a couple things where it was like a color, a color of a donut, in reference to a very inappropriate thing today, and I was just like, I had no idea. Like if you start looking for this stuff, I mean, they got away with a lot of things.
There was bad stuff in Simpsons, and we had Beavis and Butthead that you weren't really supposed to watch, but we kind of watched.
Well, in the movies too, she took them down to your office. I didn't know you were next door. Some of the movies, especially, like they do slide things in there for the adults. Like you're watching a movie. Like, I mean,
Pixar does that a lot.
You laugh and you're like, okay, that's pretty funny. Like they don't get the humor, but you do because like you got to go something in there for the parents to sit there for an hour and 45 minutes watching one of these cartoon movies. So,
well, it's funny that we're talking about this because it's National Parents as Teachers Day. So the question I have for you, gentlemen, is, what did your parents teach you best? What did your parents teach you best? And I don't like where Rob's going right now. Let's go, Muntz. What did your parents teach you?
Oh man, what they taught me the best was, I guess, really independence. I mean, because for me, it was like, go outside and play, and just like you just went out there and you were out there till the lights came on, and you just you got to do things on your own, and like, I mean, that was fun because I mean, I had a little brother, but I mean, he was 7 years younger than me. So like that difference wasn't like he wasn't going to hang out with me. So like to go out and like be with your friends and be independent and not have to rely on somebody to amuse you and keep you occupied forever. Like I enjoyed that. I liked that part, that they weren't like helicopter parents and like just all over me all the time. Like, oh, you got to do this. No, it's like, just go be a kid, like go outside and like, and do that. I enjoyed that. That was good.
Rob?
Be honest, straight up, honestly, my mom always had these stupid things she would say, but it would seriously, like, you believe it for the rest of your life until you got to an age of understanding and realized how bad she was. I'm gonna say, my parents taught me how to not raise kids. Straight up. Next person.
All right, Quinn.
I would say my dad taught me when to keep my mouth shut on certain things. That was probably the most valuable thing he taught me so far.
Okay, Billy.
Well, I would say my dad taught me to just go to work. Do the things you're supposed to. Don't half-ass anything. You just go all in. And then I would say my mother taught me how to be tough and not take anything for granted and to stand your ground.
I like it. My parents, I'm going to give them all the credit in the world for teaching me how to be creatively independent. So a little bit differently than Paul, but trying to, I don't even know how to say it, just being able to go after what you really feel is yours, right? One of those things. So I greatly appreciate that, and I hope everybody gets to kind of take a look back and what their parents have taught them, because as we've all known and we all understand, they're not always going to be there. There's going to be a time that you wish you could call them or whatnot, or vice versa. So make sure you take advantage of that and give them a call today if you can, and just let them know that you appreciate them and all they've taught you to this point. Be nice, Billy. Mama is watching. So there
Mother
you go.
Teresa.
My mom's parents taught me how to fly.
Thought.
What's he talking about? A plane or the other?
I don't understand that one. I'm confused on that one.
Oh man, it's interesting.
See, he did mean taught. Your name is the most important thing you own. Don't mess it up. That's a song, isn't it?
It is.
I mean, it's actually some really good advice right there too.
That is creative. I love it.
If you dig a little bit. Somebody should have told me that when I was young.
Jim Bartell is that's Ty's dad, and he's very proud of being Ty's dad, as he should be, of all his kids. Paul and I got to go to the wedding, and it was Awesome time. And Jim likes to have a good time. So
he's a big guy too.
The bear.
He's exactly what that picture looks like too.
Throw it back up. There it is.
He's just a big grizzly bear.
That is a perfect icon for him. All right, gentlemen. Obviously, a lot of NFL action yesterday. Just completely sideways. Everything went sideways. If you thought one team was going to win, the other team won. Paul's team leading well, I wouldn't say leading way, because I think a lot of people were surprised about that Buffalo game with Jacksonville. Billy and I and Anthony actually won it. I didn't realize I won it. I just thought that spread was pretty big. But for
you want to talk about that right after the Would You Rather? Or?
Damn it! Carry on.
All right, you guys ready? Would you rather never be able to watch your favorite movie again or never be able to listen to your favorite album again?
I'm going to dice this up. We don't live in an album time anymore.
Well, you know what I'm talking about. Can I say CD?
Song.
Can I say download? I don't know.
I mean, you're going to show your age. You're saying CD.
Yeah.
All right, cassette.
I'll lead it off. Listen. I'm more of a movie guy than I am a music guy. So, I need to see James Bond about 1,000 times. So you're not taking my James Bond away, or my Boondock Saints that's coming out, new one.
Hell
so
yes.
I'll take that.
Yeah, this is a tough one for me too. I mean, honestly, I'm the same way, but I think about movies. I mean, your favorite album, or record, whatever. I mean, me personally, I have favorite songs and things like that. I don't necessarily remember an entire album that I loved listening to. I always took like 2 or 3 songs from each one, right? So I'm actually going to go with I'm going to say never be able to listen to your favorite record again.
I would say the movie, because I mean, if it's your favorite movie, you've watched it so many times, the movie up and back. So I mean, you know it enough that you don't have to worry about. You don't have to ever see it again. Like, all right, I've seen it so many times, I know what the movie's about. So I'd say movie myself.
What if I'm gonna throw a twist in this? What if your favorite movie is like The Greatest Showman, and it's also like some of your favorite album?
Yeah,
the gray area has returned.
I don't know,
like everybody
what Paul was saying too.
What was that movie everybody got behind? Or not a movie? It was a Broadway show. Alexander Hamilton. Yeah,
Hamilton.
Like,
yeah.
What if it's that? Like, and I'm not trying to be a jerk, but like, I love The Greatest Showman. Like, love one of the best movies I've ever seen in my life, and I fought it kicking and screaming to see it, and I can't get enough.
I like it. I think it's good.
I don't know. I've never seen it. I'll check it out.
Great, like super awesome.
But like, if somebody told me that, like going off what Paul was saying, you already know what your favorite movie is. I get that. But if somebody told me like, this is one of my top 5 at least. If somebody told me I could never watch American History X again, I'd be pretty pissed off.
I don't know that I could list my 10 favorite movies right now. So I guess I'd have to go.
Try and come close. So
I'd have to go with album. Quinn?
I would go without watching the movie. I could live without my movie. I need music.
What movie is it?
My favorite movie, Remember the Titans.
Mm-hmm. You seem to hear that REM song again, huh?
Too many times, man. He's wasted more money playing that damn song than he has anything else.
Is it Everybody Hurts?
Everybody Hurts.
Like he has put $20 into the Beat Ups jukebox to play that on repeat. Like it's absurd.
People beat up.
You guys doing it in public,
like,
I'm cracking up.
They probably see Jeff come and say, "Jukebox is broken. Stay the hell away from me."
Well, doesn't Beat Ups have the one that you can just go on your phone?
Yeah,
Yeah.
touch
Oh, yeah.
or whatever. He's on a credit, so it's a good day.
That was a great invention too. I'd be in La Villa like years ago, and I would start operating. Well, that place would be packed. There's a bunch of older people too, wing night. And I would try and get to the point where I pissed off enough people that like at least one of them would leave. And I got it the one night, this guy, because I just played the most gangster rap ever. Finally, he throws his hands up. He's like, "I'm out of here!" And they had no idea who was doing it.
Are we good?
I think we're good.
All right. That means now. Oh, by the way, that was brought to you by our friends over at Bear Brothers Fine Hardwood. Today's Would You Rather also brought to you by our friend Rob Mush. As always, thank you very much. A lot of things turning sideways. Do you guys want to go over high school or do you want to go NFL first?
Whatever y'all want to do.
We can talk about our high school games.
Let's go high school first. What game on Friday or Saturday surprised you the most, either from a pleasant reaction or yeesh? I didn't see that one coming. Any ones that really inspire that reaction?
Mine personally, and I know we touched on it a little bit Saturday night when you were here. The Canfield Hubbard game. I really thought Canfield was going to Canfield won, and I thought they would win. I thought they would win by more. I mean, that being a 14-7 game for the longest time until the end when Canfield put one in late, I thought they were really going to just stretch that lead out, win by 3 touchdowns.
I think this is directed towards you, Mr. Munson.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I know they're a juggernaut. I just thought Norway was going to come in and do a little better than they did. And it was a close game for a little bit. And credit to the Tigers. They went and took care of business. So, listen, good for them. I'm not sad that they lost. Plus, I was trying to catch a game on Romo, too. I knew he was going to go there. I ended up losing 2 games to him. But listen, if we all pick the same team, it's boring. So good for them. Hopefully they do it again this week. So let's go.
Was anybody else stunned by the Canfield Hubbard game?
No. I honestly, I was not surprised by a single game this weekend. Not a single one. If I went with my head instead of my heart, I would have picked Perry to beat Girard, and I would have picked West Branch to beat Poland. I didn't want to do either one, and you see what happened. But when you go down these games and you look at the scores, and me personally, in my opinion, I do not see one single thing that jumps out at me and says, "Oh my God, this is crazy."
Jeff Bezos joins the show.
Hello, everybody.
Jeff.
How's it going?
Yeah. Jeff went 9-1 in picks.
What was the final to the Perry Girard game? Because I think that was
Like
that was
42 to 22 or something. Yeah.
Yeah, because I would.
I'll say this about that. I didn't think Perry was going to beat him by that much. I thought that game would be a lot closer. But that's probably about it for me.
Girard was hanging though. I remember looking back and I'm like, wow, this is a tight game, and then all of a sudden it just next level.
And they've been playing solid football. They're not. It's almost like their roller coaster ride was just this is who they are, And they were playing better football towards the end of their season because their schedule also allowed it to happen too. So I thought they were going to win that football game. I really did. I really thought they'd beat Perry, and I'm not. Obviously I'm not disappointed that they lost, but I thought that they would win that football game.
I think
that'd be my surprise.
That was the I hate to even say it's the typical young team, but young teams benefit from that game a year from now. You know what I mean?
Right.
That Girard will be back, I feel, a year from now, and they win that game when everybody's juniors and seniors. So I'm with you, Billy. I'm with you. Quinn, anyone surprise you?
Not really, to be honest with you. The only thing that I guess surprised me was the way Springfield won. But, other than that, nothing really surprised me. Maybe Ursuline putting up a bunch of points on Salem. That's about it.
That was my surprise of the night. And listen, I picked Salem to win on this show, and I've already caught hell from everybody that is saying, oh, well, on 21 you picked Ursuline. Yeah, it happens sometimes. You change your pick. I apologize. I want to support both these teams. But at the end of the day, I thought Salem's defense, the way that they played against West Branch, that they were going to step up. And they hit a speed bump, and it's like they never recovered from Ursuline. And Ursuline, Brady, and the bunch just continued keeping on. And And now they get screwed. They get Billy. I want to hear about your reaction to where they're playing 6 miles away from their opponent.
It's so weird. I've said this before on the show. I don't think Ursuline cares where they play. I just don't. I mean, yes, I think out of the whole group, I think they got they were the furthest away from home, or if not the furthest away from home, the closest to their opponent or whatnot, even being a higher seed. I think the OSHA had a hard time getting schools to use their field. So I mean, that's limited. It's you play where you can play at. I mean, Ursuline plays at YSU. You can call that a home field, but it's not a home field considering like where South Range plays at their school on their school property and whatnot. So it's a little different for them. But Ursuline will be up for the challenge. They do a lot of different things and spread it out, and their offense is terrific. So I think in that game they changed the dynamic of the game, just jumping up and getting on them. It changes the way you play football when you have to basically match points. So your offense, you throw your game plan out the window, and you're just trying to match points at that point, which is what West Branch has been doing to teams all year.
I thought it was interesting. Like the first 4 drives were all scores for both teams. So it was just bang, 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 and then just thinking, what is this going to be at the end of the game? Is there going to be literally? We talked about it. Is it going to be
77-71?
Yeah, I just remember being done with that game on week 1 that we did primetime there, and I was exhausted because there was 100 and some points scored in that game, and I'm like, holy cow! And I'm thinking, Ian, I'm gonna have to check on Ian in the fourth quarter, Ian and Trey, to make sure they're all right. So, congratulations to Ursuline for getting through. Congratulations to Salem for a great year. But that was a surprise to me. I thought it would be a lot closer than the scoreboard ended up, but my goodness, Ursuline can score some points, boys. Jeffrey.
Yeah. And I mean, they set themselves up. Them and West Branch, they both win this coming week. Collision course for a regional championship.
I think this is a tough game for Ursuline. Glenville is a tough game for Ursuline.
Glenville's a good team.
I agree. They showed us everything we needed to see against Beaver Local. And I'm not saying Beaver Local is the be-all, end-all, but you saw some athletes, some D1 athletes in that game, and you just went, wow. And I'm not saying that Ursuline's not going to be able to hang, but they've not seen a team like Glenville, I will argue. But
no way.
I don't think Glenville's seen a team like Ursuline, in all fairness.
Oh, they've definitely seen a team like Ursuline. If you go down their schedule, I mean, hell, they played the number 1 team in Division III in the state, Chardon, and they lost 28-14. They've definitely seen a team like Ursuline.
Well, I'm saying,
but if you look at their
point,
they both played Chardon.
But I'll tell you what, man. You look at Glenville too. I was just looking them up. They lost their first 3, and then they won 9 in a row. So
yep,
they're definitely on a roll.
I mean, they were the 7th seed, so they went and they upset Villa Angelo St. Joseph. So, I mean, that's other than that, like all of our other games coming up this week, it's all chalk. It's all 1, 2, 3s, and 4s, except for that one. That's a 7. So,
what's up, Paige? Paige is back.
It'll be interesting, but I know we'll get more into the upcoming games later.
So tomorrow, I want the show. I don't know if you guys got to read my article yesterday when they came out with the sites. I want to have that show be, especially the first part of the show, be more about where they're playing. So we probably won't get into that a whole bunch today, but Ursuline was the biggest one, the red flag that I was like, wait a minute. Ursuline's traveling 77 miles and Glenville's 6.6. Like, they can pretty much get there at game time. You know what I mean? Just walking there. So it's going to be interesting. But there's a couple more of those, and some of our teams are benefiting from it, and we'll talk about that tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, big time.
Jeffrey, is there a game that surprised you or you really had interest in over the weekend?
I would probably say LeBray a little bit.
You were there?
I was there, obviously, on the sidelines. And it was just them how physical they are. LeBray was physical last year, but I think their offensive line really just dominated Brookfield's front of their defensive line, and early in the third quarter, late in the fourth, you could just see how worn out Brookfield was.
Billy and Quinn, you guys were there the first time. To me, I wasn't able to watch it because we were doing the South Range game, but when I was kind of going through the X's and O's on Sunday morning, it looked like Brookfield took a lot more punches this time than they did the first time around, just from a standpoint of staying in the game.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, Brookfield came out a little different. They tried, they had the bigger adjustments when it comes to the starting point of the game, and they were able to do some things offensively that they weren't able to do defensively. But Quinn and I were talking before the game, and I said Brookfield had guys down the field open. They just didn't have time to make those plays develop. They were doing too many things, 5 to 7 step drops, where they came out and did 3 to 5 step drops and got the ball out of their hands and into their playmakers and were able to make plays. Penalties were huge on both sides. I think we had 8 personal foul calls. Surprised nobody got ejected. There wasn't any fights or anything like that, but it was scrappy. It was a typical old school TAC 8 battle. You go back all the way then, where it was just, let's just get nasty and we don't like each other. And we talked to Coach Armenian when we did primetime for that game, I think week 7 or 8 or whatever. And that was circled, and it was it was poetic that they had to meet up again, realistically, just because of the way that these guys just hate to play each other, also love to play each other.
Well, somebody's trying to take your cookies here with this. How about the Giants? Except they can't spell.
Yeah, well, he should worry about the Bears tonight too. So,
Cleveland Public Schools transportation system. They spelled that one right.
I'm impressed with that.
You were the first person I looked to, man. Paul, the South Range game, it was, and I hate to. This is not disrespect.
Never in doubt.
It was over before it started.
Yeah, it was. I mean, before the game started, I'm looking down and looking at the two teams warm up, and I mean, Crestwood had 32 kids, and that was all they had. I mean, I counted them up. I'm like, oh, that's not a lot of kids out there.
This ain't the Jack Lambert Crestwood Red Devils.
Yeah.
Oh, is that where you went?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's Jack Lambert Field when you go there and play.
No kidding.
Yeah, I mean, they just I don't know. They weren't ready for that. And, South Range did exactly what they were expected to do. Spread the ball out enough where they needed to. I mean, Dominguez got his 100 yards. Billy got his 100 yards through the air. Everybody got some touchdowns here and there. First interception I'd seen all year, at least I didn't remember the one in University. But the one I saw from Billy on Saturday was the first one I'd seen in a while. So
what did you think about the touchback call?
Thankfully, up in the press box where we were, there was the 2 guys who were there to monitor the officials. We didn't understand what happened because
walk us through it, because I still don't understand how that was a touchback.
So the way it works out, the way the guy explained it to us is on the punt, you can muff a punt. So if you touch it and it goes into the end zone, it is considered a touchback. No matter who recovers the ball, it's a touchback. Now, if he would have caught it, ran, somebody punches it out of his arm and it goes backwards into the end zone and gets recovered, that's a fumble. You can recover that in the end zone. We're all sitting there, and I saw Crestwood recover it, and that's why I said it was a Crestwood touchdown. And then they get together and they're talking, and then the guy points first down for South Range. They put the ball on the 20. And I was like, I immediately turned to these 2 guys. I'm like, you have to explain this. They're like, it was a muffed punt. As soon as it crosses the goal line, the ball's dead. He goes, it doesn't matter who recovers it. The ball is dead, and it's down now as a touchback, and it goes out.
That's a high school rule. But if it goes to the 1 and it's recovered by the other team, it's a turnover.
Yeah, if it would have stopped at the 1 and Crestwood would have grabbed the hold of it, it would have been their ball first and goal on the 1.
Yeah, anytime the ball crosses the end zone, it's dead.
Yep.
You're saying even if the ball bounces off the player that's catching it, bounces off of him.
It did.
And then goes in the end zone, it's dead.
As long as it's not able to fumble first.
The only thing that I saw, and my eyes might be deceiving me, but I didn't know that rule, number 1. So I'm not going to sit here and act like I did. But he muffed it, and I felt like the ball was still out of the end zone, and it still wasn't recovered. Everybody's around it, then it goes into the end, almost like it crosses right over in, and then Crestwood had a clean recovery. So what happens if they're fighting over the football at the 1 yard line, and then it goes in the end zone?
Same. Because nobody took control over the football.
Yeah, nobody took possession.
No clear
possession. That sounds like a horrible
That's
rule.
the worst rule I've ever heard. And
it's terrible.
That is so bad. So bad.
Usually,
They
a lot of
gotta fix
times,
that.
rules exist for safety. That doesn't have any safety implications on it to me.
No, because you're going to have guys running and diving and fighting after a ball. I mean, it was love you too, babe, and it was just like I was blown away by the call because the guy's like, yeah, he goes, I said, because he touched it. I mean, the ball was
Oh, it's clear.
You thought like Shane was going to like let it bounce and it was going to maybe get near him, but as soon as it bounced and went at him, he kind of stuck his hand out, went off his hand, and then went backwards, and now all of a sudden he was like, oh crap. And they wrestled for it, and the ball squirted around, and you thought somebody had it, and then it just popped out into the end zone, and I was like, I was shocked. I didn't know that was a rule. I'll be honest. I had no clue.
Sigler and I sat there, and we were trying. We tried to get. I actually had you. You were talking about it, but you didn't really have the time to say exactly what happened. Obviously, because you're a PA announcer. But I'm sitting there. I'm like, how can that possibly be South Range's ball? And Randy Dominguez was right behind us, and he goes, "That's a touchback. They're giving him a touchback." And all of us kind of looked at each other like, "What do we do here?" And then we started getting the jig is up for South Range, and it's nice to know that's an actual rule and that it was explained. Because I'm sitting there, I'm like, I have no idea. No.
They should seriously consider revisiting changing that rule too. That sounds horrible.
Yeah. Well, and I explained it, and when I said it over the PA system, I said, thankfully to the officials up here in the press box to clear that up. And those two guys were like, no, don't say we said that. I'm like, you're real officials. You guys know the rule. We don't. So, I said that off the mic. I said, the rule
on there.
and he was just like, no, it makes it sound like we're up here like making up rules. I'm like, no, it's like it's you guys.
Yeah, because
think about how dumb that sounds. You're telling the kid, because of course I don't think anybody knew this was ruled until probably today. But you're telling us that a kid can literally, instead of gaining possession off of a muff punt, which as long as it doesn't go into the end zone, where it's a non-scoring recovery on the 2, if you cross the end zone, it is a score. It's a touchdown. I'm so confused right now that makes zero sense to me.
They also have a stupid rule, like you can't advance the muff punt. So if you muff punt it at the 50, you can't pick it up.
Well, that part I almost get, because that was weird. I was talking about this a while back, but I think it would have something to do with the fact that if that was the case, it was almost like if somebody would bounce off their foot and they could kick it, or just try and move the ball themselves. I mean, I get that part, but if a ball bounces off of the player catching the ball, I mean, it's fair game. There shouldn't be anything to talk about.
Well, it's like in college football where you can catch it at the 5-yard line and not have to return it.
The only difference with that,
You
Rob,
see that?
is if the ball goes into the end zone, then it's down. But if you muff it at the 15 and it rolls dead at the 5, the other team can recover it.
But if you go back and still don't have a clean recovery and it goes into the end zone, that's part of the muff, is what we're trying to ask.
Yeah,
that's what happened.
Because then if you're fighting, how many times you seen that? You see one player dive on it, ball keeps going, then you see 3 more players try and grab it, and all of a sudden the ball's in the end zone.
And it doesn't matter.
And that's kind of
before it hits the end zone.
That's it. So if I'm at the 15-yard line and I know I'm going to get crushed, I'm going to muff that punt backwards and then run it back and squirt it into the end zone. Because what can you do? We're going to get the ball at the 20, so that's a 5-yard return.
Yeah. I mean, it's almost like the old holy roller rule that they changed in the NFL. That, if you fumbled it, and it was Oakland. They fumbled it, and the guys kept, like, kicking it forward, and then one of their guys picked it up and ran it with it. So you can't really do that. But, yeah, I see your point there. You muff it or something, turn around, just punt it through the back of the end zone and go.
Well, I think that would be a safety.
That would be a safety.
But if you're a good enough actor and you can pretend to, oh, my bad, I tripped, and toss it into the end zone, they can recover it and you still get the ball back.
Yeah.
Bad rule. It's a bad rule.
Every high school coach should be telling their kids about this rule, because I guarantee you,
listen,
a lot of them do not know about this.
Sean Guerrero's sitting there like this. Writing it down.
You're on the 5, drop it, roll it backwards into the end zone, and land on it. It's a touchback.
Oh, my gosh. But that South Range game, I mean, give credit where credit's due. Now, I will also give credit to Crestwood, because they are the first team in 3 weeks to score against South Range.
Well, yeah. Yes, technically, yes. But, I mean, when you've got your varsity players in there and it was all freshmen for another team, and the only way you got that was because you had a pick 6,
Score's a score, Paul. Score's a score, dude. Right? We can put blind kids on the field and they score. Score's a score, man. Like,
Don't do that.
like, all right, man. Like what do you?
Hey, but you know what? I think instead of running the clock was a running clock, and I think instead of hey, we're going to just run this thing out. I think listen, okay, you guys want to go and score on that and keep your varsity out there. That's why they threw for that touchdown at the end too. Hey, we'll go back and score on you. And then the freshmen did score on their varsity, but it was. Yeah, they did finally score. Somebody scored on them, but I mean, it was like
we'll see if South Range every week it seems like we say, hey, South Range will get tested this week. Up here's 35-0.
Sugar Creek is pretty good though. They held Southeast to like 47 total yards of offense on Saturday.
You know who else did that? JFK.
Yeah, well, I know. I'm just saying,
and I'm not taking anything away from JFK, but I mean, let's be real here. I'm at the point that I'm tired of hearing people say, oh, this is the week South Range goes into the buzzsaw. What? Like, I heard that about Crestwood, and like Paul said, we're sitting there, and I was like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 31, 30. Where's the rest of them?
Yeah. I mean, the D5
you gotta have a defense if you even want to be in the game with South Range. You better have a defense that can do multiple things.
And that's where I think looking at the two. Unless you get blocked in the back, Jeff. Looking at the two D5 games, the teams that our local teams are playing against, their defenses look like they're real. I mean, Garraway's only given up 73 points all year. Kirtland's only given up 67. And Garraway is one of the few teams that I looked at out of all of our teams that are playing. They've played 7 winning teams out of their 12 games. So that's the most out of a lot of our schools. So, I mean, it'll be fun. It's going to be a fun time. Don't get me wrong. It's going to be great. But 73 points is the second lowest next to Kirtland in giving up all year. So,
D-Mac saying, I didn't think Crestwood would do anything. Was Jack Lambert coming back to play?
I will say this, though, regardless of, people saying, no, this is the week South Range runs into the buzzsaw, I'm telling you right now, South Range got their hands full against this team. I mean, this is going to be a tough one.
You think?
Oh, God, yeah. Are you kidding? What Paul was just saying. You're talking about they're both undefeated, which is going to be just a clash. And if you look at this from Garraway, with the opponents that they're playing, they're winning. I mean, if you run down these scores, the highest, I want to say, is 14 points scored against them. And like Paul said, 73 points all game. Well, what I'm saying, I'll get into this more when I start researching this, but I'm just running down real quick. And I'm looking at these teams, and I mean, I haven't ran through them all yet, but I think the majority do have a winning record.
7.
I would imagine, and I don't know this to be true, but this is just me throwing a flyer out here. If we did rankings of offense, defense in each division, I would be willing to bet that South Range is a top 7 offense and a top 5 defense.
Yep.
So
I would agree.
No team in that Division 5, probably has those two things going for them.
I mean, scoring wise,
the only problem with Garraway is they're in the IVC, which is a predominantly D6, D7 conference in football. They're one of the bigger schools in that IVC.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they played Malvern, Indian Valley, Ridgewood, Dalton. Those John Glenn. Those are all the schools that have winning records that they've played.
I would say the majority of the time we're going to usually look at South Range and beat the crap out of somebody. I mean, I don't see them beating the crap out of this team. I think it'll be a decent game.
Yeah,
I'm gonna put it out there, and I hope the Raiders are watching right now. I'll put myself out there. I think the Raiders win by 3 scores. Just straight up.
I can see it. I can see that.
That wouldn't surprise me one bit.
Yeah, I'm not going to be shocked by any means. I'm just saying, I'm looking at this team right now without research and everything. You're looking at the paper. I mean, on paper, this game should not be a blowout. But don't get me wrong either, man. I'm rooting for South Range. I'd love to see them win by 3 scores.
You don't play the game on paper, though.
And when South Range wins,
very true.
They're gonna find out a lot about Kirtland because Garrettsville plays a similar style defense. So there's going to be things that they're going to take away from that film that they're going to be able to learn from.
Am I crazy here by saying, and not trying to be a homer here, that Garfield is going to upset Kirtland and throw all of this into a tizzy?
That would be fun.
I really think early they're gonna cause Kirtland problems with that funky offense that they have.
That's going to be the dogfight. That's a game right there. I think that's going to be a clash for sure. I mean, listen, you do not want to be 1 or 4, because 1 or 4 was going to see this matchup. Like if you were any of these teams in D5, you wanted to be 2 or 3. You kind of wanted to be where you are. I mean, you look at South Range, out of the 8 teams that are playing that we have, they are the second highest scoring offense next to West Branch. West Branch is almost at 600 points scored for the year. South Range is at 537. Next to Springfield at 516. So, I mean, it's going to be interesting.
These teams are there for a reason. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and
right.
like Sigler said, he said it Saturday on the broadcast. What's crazy about South Range is their offense is overshadowing their defense, because if their offense was average, their defense, I mean, they would be the star in lights, right? That's all we would talk about is this defense. But their offense is that good that everybody just goes, okay, well, we can't get into a scoring match with them because we're going to lose. No. You can't let them score first because you will lose. It's end of days for you.
Yeah, for me, I thought the same thing predominantly the whole year about South Range defense until the Hubbard game. I mean, Hubbard put up a lot of points all throughout the season. You could say they're one-dimensional, and that's a fair point to say, but they were still putting a lot of points on a lot of different teams that were bigger, than South Range, and they, obviously they put a 0 on that board. So when they did that, for me, the South Range defense thing went to bed.
I can't wait for this Garrettsville Kirtland game. That game's going to be over in 45 minutes. Like it's going to be played in a phone booth. It's going to be over before it starts. I mean, from the standpoint of how fast. Yeah. Because what did we talk about, Billy? The biggest thing we talked about the LeBray week when those two teams played was, okay, if this game is over 20 points, it's advantage LeBray. If it's under 20 points, it's advantage Garfield. And Garfield played their ass off. And you think, like, them having to go 54 minutes or whatever it is to where they have to go on Kirtland's backyard, basically.
They got to go to Perry,
yeah,
which is like a 15-minute drive for Kirtland. And
so you look at that and you go, I think that benefits Garfield because they get to focus in for 54 minutes on what they have to do. For Kirtland, I'm just gonna guess because I don't know Kirtland. I don't know Tiger or any part of that, but I know that they have the longest winning streak in the country, and the pressure's on them to beat Garfield. I really feel Garfield goes in house money and says, "Listen, we're here. You have to beat us." Like it's the contender's advantage. Usually, it's a champion's advantage. This is the contender's advantage, and I think that Garfield has all the cards if they use them wisely.
Well, I think if you're Garfield, you're going to want to do one thing is keep, Kirtland's offense on. Because Kirtland has a pretty good offense too. But you just got to keep control of the football and really take time of possession and make it yours. Really dead the football kind of.
I would put some Skittles on that Garrettsville will have the time of possession in that game.
Yeah,
I would agree with you 100%.
I was looking at Kirtland's record, or their opponents, and the same thing. Like Paul was saying earlier, their points given up are hardly any. But then they played a Lakeside team, and I don't know what happened if they were having an off night or what. But
that's their league, though. Their league is weak. It's always been that way. When I played them in high school twice, their league was like 1 or 2 wins, man. And the one time we played them, they beat us 63 to 7.
Well, I'm talking about that Lakeside game. This Lakeside scored 28 on this team. Like, that's what I'm saying. I don't know if Kirtland was having an off night or what.
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
Jeff, do your research on Lakeside, would you?
No, I don't need to do research on Lakeside. It's just that's their league, though. Like, that's the thing. Like, when we played them when I was a junior.
Pronouns. We.
Okay, shut up, Billy. But when South Range played them, their league was the same way. They played a team with 15 kids on their one team. I forget the team's name, and they blew everybody out that year. I'm not saying that Kirtland's going to blow South Range out because that's who I think would win that game. Garrettsville falls in like a late score, maybe Kirtland wins, but I really do think that you can't really look at Cortland's opponents and tell them like, well, they have only played 2 teams with a winning record.
The same thing that we're doing
They
for
played
everybody
5
else.
teams with a winning record.
What? Okay, I'm sorry. I don't have their schedule right in front of me. My bad.
Sorry, Jeff. I did some homework today. I got time. So.
Did you really? Good job, Paul. You did a study hall job, man.
I did. Hey, I was sweeping up over here.
Oh, I didn't sweep anything today, so jokes on you.
We need a 2x2 going.
I don't know how to do that yet.
Hey, yeah, switch me, DJ. Switch me over to the left side, bro.
Okay.
I feel like this is like a Mortal Kombat thing. Versus.
Jeff's got a broom, but I've got a pop.
Jesus.
And some Funyuns.
What?
We got to take a break and pay some bills.
Yeah, I'll throw these Pop-Tarts like ninja stars.
Oh my gosh. We can't get there fast enough. We're going to be back in 2 minutes and 4 seconds to be exact, right here on the Ysn Power Hour.
Every customer has a story, and at Greenwood Chevrolet, we are committed to making sure it ends with you in the right vehicle. I get to be part of somebody's adventure, whether it's buying a car for the first time, helping them get approved, or finding the perfect car for their budget. I'm proud that people trust me with their finances. They trust me to take care of them, and they trust me with their story. I'm Tracy, and I'm ready to go the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Working with your family can be stressful at times. But because they're family, you know that you're going to get a loving, honest answer, even when things don't make sense, to any problem. Dealing with Medicare can be confusing and overwhelming. That's why here at Myers Family Insurance, we do our best to give you honest and caring answers to all of your questions. Family, like Medicare, isn't always perfect, but when you put others first, the results can be amazing.
For all your Medicare needs, call Myers Family Insurance.
Storm season.
I think we're under the gun for some heavy storms over the next couple of hours.
And Storm Tracker 21 is ready.
This is probably the one we're keeping a closer eye on.
On air.
And locally, we're going to have a lot of eyes on our area.
Online.
All right, let's talk high-risk futurecast and the timing of this weather.
On social media and on our app.
Notice we'll have scattered showers on Thursday.
Stay ready with Storm Tracker 21.
The severe weather threat now through around sunset this evening.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions.
WRS Insurance Solutions is a local independent agency that specializes in life, Medicare, long-term care, and disability products. Call us at 330-953-3722 or visit us at wrsinsurancesolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Ysn Power Hour. Some breaking news, not necessarily regarding any teams, but it involves us. So I want to let you know, for being loyal fans and watching us all the time, that November 26th on AMC, yes, AMC, the America's Movie Channel or something like that? I don't know what it stands for. But regardless, YSN, yes, us, YSN. We have a national story coming out on AMC. It's going to be called Newswatch, a show that they have every other week, I think. And it's going to air Friday, November 26th on AMC from 7 to 7:30 Eastern Time in the morning, a.m.
Is that Black Friday?
It is Black Friday.
Yeah.
It is Black Friday. So they did a story a little bit about us and the success that we've had over the last year in the pandemic, and they were impressed about what we did and how we do it. So that'll be airing in front of supposedly 90 million people on Friday, November 26th on AMC. So enjoy that, and I'm sure we'll have a cut of that as well that we can air. If you're not up at 7 o'clock in the morning on Black Friday, which that's when most people go to bed, seemingly, the day after Thanksgiving. So exciting for us. I'm excited to have that, and thank all of you and of course all the you guys for being part of YSN. But naturally, everybody that's tuned in, the 1.25 million views that we had last month was a big part of this, I'm sure. So thank you very much for that. So all right, back to square one here, Jeff. Wait, first off, I didn't hear it the first time, but I heard it as I was going to get a water. Paul said that he was going to throw Pop-Tarts like Ninja Stars. Is that accurate?
Yeah, that's what I said.
Awesome.
Nice.
Ninja Stars.
What other game? I mean, there was a couple other games. West Branch over Poland, I think, raised a lot of eyebrows in this area. There was a lot of you guys that even picked Poland in the defense. Did West Branch impress you to the point where you're willing to? And not that you didn't say that they were for real, but I think that a lot of people are now anointing West Branch to be what they have been this entire time, and that's an offensive juggernaut.
Yeah, I was impressed. I thought for sure Poland was going to go in there and make it a little tougher, if not win that game. And West Branch just flexed its muscles and said, we're the number one seed for a reason, and we're going to show you why. And they took care of business, so credit to them.
Rob, I know you were on the Poland bandwagon. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I was watching some of that game after I got home that night. And like I was saying earlier when we first started the broadcast today, there's just no surprise. I mean, if you're watching that game towards the end, there was one play, Poland, they pick up a first down. I don't know, let's say call it crazy and get an onside kick. All of a sudden, they could possibly tie that game up. But West Branch, I'll tell you, you're watching Drew DeShills, man. And the thing about Drew, in my opinion, because I haven't seen him a lot this year, I'm just going off of everything you guys said and the stats and how crazy good this kid really is. But when you're watching him, like it was a 3rd and long, and all Poland's got to do is literally just fill up the gaps. He ain't going nowhere. You stack it up. And then all of a sudden you see this kid just going off for like 50 yards, and he doesn't look big. I didn't think so. Like when you're thinking, like it was almost like if somebody didn't see William Wallace, they'd assume he was 8 feet tall and he had lightning bolts shooting out of his ass or whatever. But Drew DeShills, I'm waiting for this 6'7" kid or 6'5" kid to show up, and and he just didn't look very big to me at all. But to have that body and that size and be able to do what he's doing, makes it even more impressive.
Outstanding. Billy, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you out the first time.
No, I mean I'll be the bad guy here as usual. For me, it's always listen. I think West Branch is a good team. I think they're a really good team. But if you want to impress me, beat Ursuline. Obviously, Ursuline's got to be there. But that's the matchup that I'm waiting. And I've said this about South Range. Hey, South Range is a great team. Play Kirtland. And I think that's the hurdle that West Branch has to get over, similar to South Range over Kirtland. So,
but Billy, what if Garrettsville wins and South Range wins?
I mean, the scenario could happen. I'm just saying, like that's the.
If they were going to beat Garrettsville to go on to a state semifinals, would you say, yeah, they're good, but they never got a chance to beat their nemesis?
I mean, then that is what it is.
Well, you could say he's cheating. Billy could say either team then. Really?
Yeah, I mean that would obviously be a scenario that wouldn't happen. I mean, I wouldn't fault West Branch for that if they didn't get a chance to play Ursuline. I wouldn't do the same thing if South Range. I mean, you play who you got in front of you, but to me, that's the bar. That's the hurdle that they have been trying to get over is to beat. Didn't Ursuline beat West Branch last year to end their season? Isn't that their last loss? I think they did. I'm pretty sure they did. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure they did. They beat West Branch, and then they went on and beat Poland to go to the regional finals.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yep.
So, I mean, that's to me, that's where the bar is. That's what they should be. Obviously they need to win this football game to get there. But that's just what I want to see as a fan, as a spectator in general. That's what I want to see. That will. You won't hear another peep from me, West Branch, if you go in and beat Ursuline.
So let me ask you this, because this is the question I've been dying to ask you since Friday when this game happened. Do you feel a little bit more respect on the name of West Branch because they beat Poland? Because you said, "Hey, beat somebody," and Poland is somebody.
Yeah, they are. I think that you get more respect from that. I think to me, you beat a team that I look at as a team that is to be feared, and Poland is that, and they beat a really good Poland team. Not the best team in the NE8, but they are a really good football team in the NE8, which is considered a power conference. So. You get a lot of respect for that, no doubt. I have no problem admitting when it is time to admit to it. That was a good win. That was a great win. Obviously, you could say it was their best win because they won it in the playoffs. But if you just stack the teams up, that was their best win of the season so far.
See, I would argue that Salem game to them as West Branch is their best win of the season.
You could argue it because it's a rival. But for me, I'm not affiliated with that rival, and I don't know what it means to them. But I would say the best football team that they played was last week against Cole.
I don't think people would disagree with that, and it's going to be the case this week. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Every week, every week
in the playoffs is a better team. You're going to match up against a better team, and
as my buddy Andy Hake says, you get a chip in a chair. You get a chip in a chair, and when you beat somebody, you take their chip, you take their chair. So and that's my Andy Hake impression, by the way.
That was actually a pretty good one too.
I've been working on it. He's my guy. But the chip in the chair thing makes a lot of sense to me because at the same if Garfield beats Kirtland and South Range and Garfield collide, listen, that's on Kirtland.
I fear a little bit, only, and this is just an outsider's perspective, that this year for South Range, just hearing just through people, not from a source or anything like that, just through people is, beat Kirtland, beat Kirtland, beat Kirtland. What happens if it's not Kirtland? Are you still up for it?
Oh yeah.
And I would imagine absolutely, they'll be ready to go if it's Garrettsville or whoever it is. But that's the one concern that maybe an outsider's perspective is, if it's not Kirtland, are you still ready to go with that type of intensity?
See, I
think knowing where you're going to go next. I can maybe see your point, Billy, if it was a regional semifinal game, you're like, oh, okay, we got to match up to Kirtland in the regional semifinal. But you're going to see that matchup in a regional championship game, knowing that you win this, you go to the Final Four.
Right.
Put the, who cares? Dallas Cowboys over there. You're getting up for it. It doesn't matter.
So, and I think
it would be great if it was Garrettsville, because then we get to say, hey, YSN school is going back to the Final Four.
There's nobody that's going to be happier than me, boys. I'm telling you, pots and pans at midnight, I'm going to be out there rocking.
We got 3 chances for it. If they all win. D4, D5, and D6. We could have all local matchups there.
Here's my biggest thing about South Range, and most people will understand this. Most people won't believe this, but the talk was Kirtland until after the Hubbard game. And then after the Hubbard game, there was a different vibe to this South Range team that they didn't so much, I don't want to say they didn't care about Kirtland anymore, but the focus changed from Kirtland to the state championship. And look what we can do. Because that was supposed to be their biggest game of the year, was Hubbard. I mean, we knew it was going to be a big game when we saw both of these teams going in, 8-0, 9-0. Boom, here they are together. After and I don't want to say they embarrassed Hubbard, because they just showed up, and Hubbard, I don't necessarily think, had their best night. Everybody started saying, and from parents to fans to alums, Paul, I know you've heard it, it's not necessarily the Kirtland thing anymore. It's getting past Kirtland. It's, we want a ring. We want to be a state champion like X, Y, and Z. So I'm interested to see, because it changed in the way everybody was talking about it, and nobody seemingly said anything about it. Nobody noticed. And I was like, is anybody else hearing this change from Kirtland to state championship talk? So now it's state championship or bust. And I love the way you live that, you raise that bar up. So Corey Miles says, go Steelers. I'll be there tonight. All right.
Enjoy
Make sure
yourself,
you cheer
man.
loud.
Be safe.
EBC doesn't get enough respect. The team goes 10-0 is for real. I'm on that bandwagon. I can get behind that. I think the EBC is a really good conference.
I just feel like there's just too many weeks where you don't have to play your best football to know you're going to win that football game. But not many conferences, to be fair, not many conferences are built like the NEA.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's a couple other conferences that are around here that, listen, week in and week out, you don't have to bring your best. You can show up and just win.
There's just so many variables. It's not that, I don't want to sit here and say I'm just picking on West Branch. I mean, maybe I am. I don't care if I am. But it makes come off that way. But it's not intentionally, I promise you. And that's kind of where it comes down to. It's certain teams play a tougher schedule, and I think that there's plenty of teams in the playoffs that played a harder schedule, and I don't respect the EBC to the point where that's a schedule or a league that is, a great league. It's a good league, and it's similar to a lot of other ones that we have depending on their sizes. When it's hard to say when we got the NE8 that's right here, and a lot of our schools are, all of our schools are in that NE8, that you have to wake up and play football every single day and then the grind of oh yeah, we just played a Hubbard, now we got to go play a South Range, and then we got to go play a Poland. And that wears on you. It does. It wears on you, unlike any other conference. So it's fair to compare the two. I get it. It's just that's what I have in front of me.
Stand by, boys. Here you go. Kind of snuck up on us today. It's the Joe Dickey Electric What's Your Spark, presented by our friends over at Joe Dickey Electric in North Lima. Anything commercial, residential, anything electrical, you go to the official electrical supplier of your sports network. Go to DickeyElectric.com for more information. Let's go, Quinn. You want to go since you have practice?
Sure. Positive spark. My mom's birthday was yesterday, so I got to celebrate that. Not going to lie, don't remember how old she is, so that's a positive.
What did you get her? That's the important part.
Got her a card. It was nice. She doesn't do gifts. Like, we don't do gifts, like, because our birthdays are so close to Christmas and stuff. We just don't do gifts.
Did you write something really nice in that card, I hope?
Yeah, it was thoughtful.
Okay.
I'm a thoughtful person.
Love.
Exactly. Sign my name.
Is that all you got?
Yeah, that's it.
Respect.
Positive spark. Mom's birthday.
Happy birthday.
I'm just going to go positive. I'm so busy lately. I took on some other things that I've been doing, and, I kind of miss having some extra time to kind of get on the show and talk about what's going on and whatnot. So it's just good to be here today in the moment. That's it.
I like it. We appreciate it. Rob, what do you have?
Whoever reported my comment and got me thrown in Facebook jail for another 30 days, I pray to God that you stub your toes and you get 10 paper cuts a day for the next month, you jerk!
Now I get who friend requested me.
Yeah.
All right. Betos.
Mine's the same as Quinn's. It's my mom's birthday today, so no, I'm a terrible son. I did not get her anything
for
her birthday, but we celebrated yesterday, so I did buy her a glass of wine at Bruno Brothers. And, happy birthday to my mom.
Happy birthday, Mrs. Betos. On to El Presidente Monsuno.
Mine is mine's a negative spark. And my negative spark is geared towards somebody in my industry who agreed to do a couple.
The study hall industry?
Yeah, no. They agreed to do a couple gigs for me and help me out since I announced these football games on Saturday now instead of Friday. And they welched on me and backed out and then turned around and took my Friday away from me and pretty much put me on the sidelines now for the one gig that I do. So
DTA.
Pretty pissed off about that. And then had the nerve to kind of like say, well, I bring a bigger crowd, so that's why I'm going to take the gig away. So
I have a particular set of skills.
Yeah. So
them's fighting words in the study hall industry.
Yeah. So I wasn't too happy about that. So, but listen, if that's how that person has to go make their money, then you know what? God bless you, because I bailed you out when you backed out on a wedding one time. A wedding, not a bar gig. A wedding. You left somebody hanging. I covered for you. Don't want to hear it.
Positive spark from Moser saying, positive spark, got my tickets for Friday's West Branch versus Perry game. Ready for it. Why don't you just use your pass? Rookie.
He should come over and say hi to me. I'll be there. I had to park cars that night.
There you go. Make sure you say hi to Betos.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. It's at Boardman.
Yeah.
They got Jeff out there directing traffic. Park over here. No, you can go over there.
I'm just this way. I'm just going one way.
Corey Miles, please keep the Caden Davis family in your prayers today. Caden was a sophomore at East Liverpool High School. He passed away. He was laid to rest. Yes, sir, we are. We are privy to all that information. Caden and the entire Davis family, all the friends, and everybody close to him, in our thoughts and prayers. He was a student manager and meant so much to East Liverpool and so many. And the coolest thing, guys, and this will be my positive spark, is that I saw a lot of the schools in the area giving tribute to Caden over the past few days. And if there's one thing I can take away, yes, do we get riled up in rivalries and things like that? We do. And we can sit there and talk about, good, bad, and indifferent about the student athletes, but we love them. And the reason we do this is because we appreciate the student athletes and the programs and the coaches and the fans. So when tragedy strikes, and we are completely on board with all of this good that comes out of tragedy. Nobody wants to see tragic things happen, but the good that can come out of it. And I saw Beaver Local, honoring Caden Davis. I saw, different schools that go on and on. If you go online, you can see it. And anytime somebody loses,
Salem in their game with their fallen teacher. I mean,
at the Ysn game. Listen, we are. I'm a firm believer that sports brings people together, and it does. At the end of the day, it always does. And there's terrible things that happen in life every day. Just turn on the news. But there's great things that happen in sports out of those tragedies, and we try to be like that. I'm not sitting here promoting us, but I'm so proud of these schools that really do this. The Salem teacher that passed away after her husband 6 months earlier, died of COVID. They had a 6-month-old, I think, a little baby at home. And you just start praying for these parents and these communities to step forward and raise that child, because the old adage, it takes a village. It's going to, because that's a tough upbringing, and there's so much of that going on that doesn't get attention because it's not clickbait. So if you're out there and you want to pass along some prayers or thoughts or whatever you do in your particular life, pass them along to the East Liverpool School District and Caden Davis and the family there, and also to the Salem School District, because of all that's happened. We love you. We're supporting you, and anything we can do here at YSN, we're going to do it. But man, that is a positive spark to go out on. Thank you so much to all these people. Just unbelievable. I mean, it warms my heart, because you just, there's so much, I'm going to say, there's so much shitty stuff that can happen in life. And sports is a way that you can always come together. Even if it's your harshest rival, people come together over tragedy. So thank you.
There's too much of this stuff going on lately, man.
Yeah, it's bad. And we hope that we give you something to smile about every day, or laugh about, or giggle about, by picking on each other here in this brotherhood that we call YSN. And we thank you for being a part of it and waving the flag with us, and not just for us. You are part of YSN and everything that we do. So thank you for tuning in on this Monday episode of the Power Hour. On behalf of all of us, again, thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you when you stop by. Billy Mack, thank you. I know you're busy, man. And Jeff, thank you. This was a nice little surprise for me. I feel like it's my birthday. But that's going to do it. Well, thank you. We'll see you tomorrow when we talk about locations of these games here on the YSN Power Hour. Fly the flag.